need you to clap your hands wherever you are. If you know that you're a conqueror, I want you to say this with me. I am a conqueror. I walk by faith and not by sight. Deep within me I strive to do right. I'm not ashamed to rep his name. His ransom was the reason I was born with no chains. Now I'm confident, conquering everything.
Welcome everyone to the Reflection Show. Thank you for tuning in again on this beautiful Friday. And I'm so excited because I have a very special guest. I come all the way from Florida, Orlando as Zach, just to make this appointment with the #1 producer. And if some of you haven't heard about him, today you're going to hear his story here on the Reflection Show. I have the one and only Jovan Dawkins.
I love that intro.
Jovan, what's up, man?
Man, I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. I mean, I'm in this beautiful California, LA, my 4th time, and to be in this moment is incredible. Wow. To get the walkthrough of every studio. I mean, you got about 5 rooms in here.
Yeah.
And all have a legacy meaning to it.
Yes.
So tell me your story, because obviously from Seattle Tacoma to LA, the transition had to be difficult.
Very.
So tell me the story of who is Jovan Dawkins and how did you end up in this seat today?
You know what? So, man, if we go, let's start at Genesis.
Yes.
So in the beginning, this is what happened. So I grew up in church my whole life.
Yeah.
Grew up in Church of God in Christ. My dad's a pastor, grandfather's a pastor. Tons of great uncles are, bishops and all kinds of stuff. So,
wow.
So grew up in church my whole life. Started playing drums first. I started playing drums at 1 year old.
1 year old?
Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but my mom got videos. I was really,
you with that tie on Sunday morning.
That was me. I had lots of bands set up, and then eventually got a kid and all that stuff. So drums was my foundation for everything first.
Yeah.
And then as I was started playing at church, at the church I grew up in, there was like probably 15 drummers. 15 drummers, like on 2 different rows.
And this was back in 89, 80?
No, well, I was born in 89, so by the time that this happened, this is probably like 93-ish. Between 93 and I was at that church until I was 9 years old.
That was those 7 days a week church.
Yeah, oh yes. Oh, absolutely.
Revival every day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it was, it's a church called All-Timer Memorial in Tacoma, Washington. That was like the musician church, so a lot of big musicians came out of that church. Crystal Aiken came out of All-Timer. We all grew up together. She's older, but we all grew up together, and a lot of established producers and writers came out of that church. So it was hard to play. It was hard to do any of that. So my grandfather had a small church, so he gave me an opportunity to play at his church.
So wait, you come from a big church,
yes,
where you were already facing adversity.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean that's powerful, because you guys get this. Where he is today is going to justify how Jovan overcame adversity.
Yes,
ever since Church God in Christ.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, because the thing is, regardless of it being church, it was still like a tryout.
Right.
I mean, it was no different.
You had to wait your turn.
Yeah. And if you get a turn.
If you get a turn.
You might can play night service. You might can play for the Sunshine Band. Then you got to work your way up to the youth choir and then the adult choir. So it was a fight. So, but anyway, I got to get my feet wet by playing at my grandfather's church.
Yes.
Then I started getting called, and keep in mind, I'm 8, 9, 10-ish while this is going on, and then and then it kind of went from there. So to fast forward through there. My goal was I won't say day one, but my goal was to become a songwriter, producer, and a film composer.
And that's all you believed in yourself.
That's all I wanted. I wanted to be a touring musician, a session musician, a songwriter, producer, and film composer. That was my goals.
Wow.
Starting there, I didn't get into the business side mentally until maybe I was like 14, and I started really like getting focused more into that. So anyway, me and my friend Lamar, one of my best friends growing up, and my other best friend, Trey Williams, we used to actually work on records together, even though we didn't really know how to record for real.
Wow.
We didn't have gear, so we would go to Guitar Center and make beats in Guitar Center.
Yeah.
And then And we didn't have any back then. It was floppy disk. We didn't have any. We didn't have any floppies.
You taking me back, way back, back into time.
Exactly. We couldn't save it, so we would spend hours at Guitar Center.
Wow.
And then delete, because you
Straight
couldn't
up.
save it. And so we would go after we would leave football practice. That's what we would go do.
Imagine how many hit records you guys produced out of Guitar Center,
Yeah.
and you couldn't do nothing with it.
Nothing, and we were feeling ourselves. and then when we started getting our own stuff gradually, we would work on stuff. So I would consider myself a songwriter producer as of starting in the 4th grade, in my opinion, because that's where I started getting the concept of recording on multiple tracks and putting compositions together. So I want to say the change for me started kicking in when I went into the 7th grade. A lot of that 7th grade year, it was so much. That was like the defining moment of me getting prepared for this.
So it's almost like an identity period.
Yes. That's
identifying with who you were as far as what you have as far as your gift.
That's exactly what it was. So I had switched schools. So I went to a school called Stewart Middle School in 6th grade, and I didn't want to do cadet band there because I thought it would be boring, right? Because you got to keep in mind, I'm coming from church, playing by ear, having fun, and and I was, on drums, I was considered as ahead of my time. So I played like I was grown, but I was young. So I'm like, this is probably gonna be boring. I don't want to, my mom was like, no, Jovan, I think you should look into it. Yeah. And then we went there like, we're gonna start them off on bells. And so that's when my mom was like, maybe this ain't right for you, baby. You don't need to do no bells. That. You better than that. So we didn't do that. So I switched schools. They had built a new middle school in the area called Giadroni. I went there, and I met a man by the name of Barney Blau, which was the music teacher. Man changed my life. And so my mom told me again, Jovan, you should really do cadet band this year, and this is why.
So your mother invested in every decision that she felt within herself that would gear you toward the path that would lead you to where you are today.
That's exactly
because that's important. Because Jovan, there's parents right now that are watching this, especially in our generation, where they're not making intentional decisions for their kids.
Right.
They're trying to make their kids live their dreams.
Right, exactly. Right.
Well, why was it important for your mom to make intentional decisions?
For her, you know what, and I'll say my grandmother too. They both had this dream of where I was gonna be successful in music, and they would instill that into me.
It wasn't about them.
No, it wasn't about them.
You.
It wasn't even a dream, because neither one of them wanted to do music professionally. My mom could sing, but she never wanted to really do it professionally like that. So it's not like I was living her dream.
Yeah.
But she understood that, okay, God gave you this talent for a reason. You shouldn't be playing on beat at 1 year old. You shouldn't be able to do this at this age. So she knew what it was. My grandmother knew what it was. Got me my first drums.
Beautiful.
I mean, really invested into me.
Yeah.
And so they really pushed at, you know what? No, you need to go do cadet band because of this.
Yeah.
My mom had a sit down conversation with me. She says, you need to learn how to read music. You need to. Because my mom could read music. So she's like, if you learn how to read music,
you win it all.
You are going to be 10 steps ahead of your peers, when that time comes. So she said that going into the 7th grade, we were at orientation, and she said this to me.
Yo, I find that pretty amazing, man, because that just shows us the difference between long time ago parents and today parents. Parents were investing because they knew that person can carry something much further than they would. But parents today are in competition with their own children.
Oh yeah, absolutely, big time.
Which is sad.
Yeah, it's sad. I've actually counseled some musicians and writers that have dealt with that, and they have fights with their parents to this day as adults because of that journey. It's a battle.
So so keep going. So now your mother invests in you. She says you're gonna be ahead of your peers, and now you're in this band as a cadet with Mr. Blau.
With Mr. Blau, and so what happened was, so he started teaching, of course, the class how to read music, and this was the defining moment of it. So I used to go in the 7th grade. I would only go to recess 3 times a week. That's it. All the other times, I would go get my lunch, bring it to the band room. I would get on keys, work on scales and cadences.
Yeah.
Then I would go get on the snare drum or bass drum, work on cadences. Then I would go in the drum room on the kit, and and work on stuff, and then I would go sight read. That was my regimen.
Wow. So discipline starts
Yeah.
when you identify
Yeah.
with where you see yourself.
Absolutely. Right.
Because at 7th grade, it was a deal breaker for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
7 is the number of completion.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So already you were in that moment of completing
yeah.
what you were getting ready to do.
Exactly.
So you knew the end result was I had to work.
Yes.
And
yes.
discipline myself
Right,
in order to be ahead of my peers, even though your mom already spoke that.
Yeah,
in your
exactly.
life.
Exactly. So by me doing that, after about, I want to say, by the end of the week, Mr. Blau just came out and just said, Jovan, what are you doing? Why are you never out there
Playing?
Like, you only, because he did the math. He was like, okay, you here X amount of days. He's never seen that before.
Wow.
So then, but my answer threw him off. I said, well, music is my life. I said that in 7th grade.
Wait, that might be a new T-shirt line you come out with.
Oh,
Music is my life.
Music is my life.
Listen, everybody would get an MML.
yeah.
Make the M keys.
Yeah. Oh,
and
that's
make
dope.
the L like notes.
There you
inside
go.
of it. Music is my life. Yeah, that'd be dope.
That's where you created it. Just like that. So
keep going.
But yeah, man. So I said that, and he just looked at me like, music is your life.
Yeah.
So he says, what can I help you with? And so I just started saying, I want to, do this more. And so he started. So then now he's dedicating the time with me.
Hold on. You changed the perspective
Yeah.
of a teacher who was supposed to be teaching you
Absolutely.
on how to be great in what you do.
Exactly.
So greatness was already instilled inside
Yes,
of you.
correct. Right. I didn't know it at the time fully,
Wow.
but by what I spoke,
Right.
and he sat down with me, and then eventually he asked me, after me doing that consistently for several weeks,
Yeah.
maybe a month, I think a whole month it went by, he says, Jovan, because we do scales in the morning, right, so for band class, so he says, how about you conduct scales for our class? I was like, okay.
Wow.
So then the first day,
Wow.
I'm sitting high on the podium. I got my stick, and all my friends and classmates are all coming in. They looking like, Jovan, you gonna get in trouble, bruh.
Wow.
Mr. Black gonna see you. I'm like,
Wow.
no, he asked me to be here.
Wow.
They're like, what are you talking about? So then he comes out and says, sit down, class.
Yeah.
And he always gave me the greatest introductions, like as if I was Quincy Jones then.
like the show, like how I did the introduction.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so he says, yeah, Mr. Dawkins has been putting in, X amount of time, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And he's going to be teaching your scales in the morning moving forward. So I started doing that. So I started doing that consistently. Then this was the Super Bowl. This is when things changed again. There was a song called Furioso, and it was my favorite song to play on drums and stuff. So, but I knew the song so well. I knew the horn parts. I knew French horn parts. I knew what it was.
Studied that baby.
I knew it in and out. So to the point where I was halfway remixing it at some point. It was
Doing your own thing.
Yeah. Forget the music. So he says, "How would you like to conduct it in our first concert?" I was like, "What?" Because that's unheard of where I'm from. I don't know about where it is in Florida or LA.
Yeah.
But a child conducting an orchestra is unheard of in school.
I mean, that's like the Philharmonic back.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
Right,
So
exactly.
it's huge.
That's huge, especially where I'm from in Tacoma. That doesn't happen.
So wait,
Yeah.
adversity at the first church.
Yes.
Then the second part, middle school, identity.
Yeah.
Transition into being disciplined. And then you go into leadership.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. And which my grandmother and my mother always used to tell me. They were telling me this when I was 10. They said, Jovan, you're a leader, not a follower. They always told me that.
They spoke life into a cloud that seemed as if it had no manifestation.
Exactly. Right. That's exactly what they did. All 24/7 never changed. They're still the same today. That's why they reap the benefits from it, because they were saying it back then. So
Come on now.
So
Shout out to mom and grandma on what you guys did with Jovan, because that is just extraordinary.
absolutely.
That is a blessing.
It's a huge blessing. So,
You know, I grew up where I didn't know my grandfather. I didn't know my grandmother. The first time I saw my grandmother was my dad brought a tape home, and he pressed play, and there she is in the morgue. They're preparing her. He says, "Here's your grandmother." So to experience that is beautiful. That is an honor.
Right.
You know, and then for you, the way you honor your grandmother and your mom by naming studio after them. That is beautiful.
Right.
So you go into leadership.
Yeah.
And after leadership, what comes out of Jovan next?
The next thing, well, the change was for me when it came down to the concert. And Mr. Blau introduced me. And keep in mind, this gym is filled with parents and friends, family, all that.
Wow.
I mean, this was a new middle school.
Right.
So, everybody just want to be in the building.
Right.
See it, right? So packed house, and we get to the last song, Furioso. He introduces me and he tells them my journey. He says, this man has been coming in, doing this, that, and today, coming to you as a guest conductor, Jovan. They gave me the Quincy Jones introduction. I was nervous as all get out. I conducted probably about a 45-piece band total, between the symphony and the horn section and all that stuff, and standing ovation. And that gave me this adrenaline in me that never went away. And I said, you know what? This is what I needed for the score production side of me.
So wait, hold on, David. So you're in the den.
Yeah,
You're picking up rocks. You're out there throwing the rocks, preparing.
Right.
All of a sudden, here you are facing a Goliath moment.
Yeah, right.
And in that moment, within one strike, after preparing for so long, you kill it.
Yeah.
Your fear no longer exists.
Yeah.
It's your faith that you embraced.
Right.
And you killed this thing.
Yeah.
And it birthed in you the word that was given to you in your life to become who you are today.
Exactly.
Woo!
Yep, absolutely. No, you're right.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Guys, we got to take a short commercial break. This is Ramsey Rizard, The Reflection Show, hanging out with the one and only here in L.A. at this beautiful HMG Studios right here in Burbank, California. Stay tuned. We got more coming your way.
What happens when a member loses someone and they need God's word to bring them comfort? Who's going to give it to them? You?
I win. Are you still gonna take me to my basketball game?
Of course.
Promise this time.
My daughter's about to sign her first major recording deal.
Let's just do it once more, okay, everybody?
Dad, we've rehearsed it 3 times.
Just do it for me.
Okay, once more, everybody. Thank you.
This is a great college, Mommy.
But it's so far. It's so expensive.
Bag burning the midnight oil, I see.
You're still at the office.
This is a lot on my plate.
You never kept your promises down.
She still has these headaches.
You just go out there and do your best. We're gonna get a record deal today.
You are not going home today or anytime soon.
Tragedies are commonplace.
Not my baby, no.
All kinds of diseases.
We want a second opinion, and we won't get one if we have to change hospitals.
No,
I
you
want
do not need another doctor.
Slipping away.
But I ask that you send us a blessing.
The economy's down. People
Only thing me and Teresa's been doing is trusting in the Lord. And look where it's gotten us.
David, come on.
No, please.
Do you still believe in your Lord and Savior? Will you stop questioning your faith and ask Him for forgiveness?
David, we're men of God. That means we made a commitment.
All of the answers to our good fortunes and our suffering can be found right there in His Word.
Welcome back to the Reflection Show. That's right, hanging out with Jovan Dawkins right here in LA, Burbank, California, and his beautiful studio, HMG Group, shutting it down,
Yes, sir.
making sure that he's bringing to you great music that can inspire your life.
Absolutely.
Jovan, we were talking earlier about, man, your journey,
Yes.
adversity, identity, discipline, leadership, then faith. Talking about your grandma and your mom and Mr. Blau. Take us to the next level of your journey.
Next level is it's time to try to get on the road as a drummer. That's the next step.
Next step.
Yeah, so did every church thing, did every convention, every midnight musical. I don't even know if they do that anymore.
I don't think so. They call it midnight prayer.
Oh, okay. So I did all that, and so I was like, I got to get on the road.
Yeah.
So I met a musical director that was from Tennessee. No, I'm sorry, from Chicago. And he saw me play, and I had got my first opportunity to go start, traveling and touring and playing with some people, and so and my mom allowed me to do it. That was the beauty. That was the beautiful part. She allowed me to get out there and do it. So I would go do some gigs and stuff during the summer and stuff like that, and I got to work with a couple great artists over time. I was playing drums for Sir Mix-a-Lot. I was also his musical director. Did that and did some stuff with Ray J back then, and just started just getting around as a drummer. And so now I was accomplishing those goals. Started getting endorsement deals with drum companies and stick companies, cymbals, drum heads, Remo, all that stuff.
Wow.
So I was living the drummer dream now, early. So I went on my first professional gig. I was 16 years old.
16.
So I was 16
years old. 1-6.
Yes, 16.
They see sace.
Yes, sir. 16.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did that, and I would do it here and there. Come back home, and what that eventually led to was my next journey, which is becoming a session drummer. So I knew that there were steps to where I needed to go. I didn't know all of them at the time, but it's like everything in my life was lining up to where, okay, you wanted to live your drummer dream live, okay, you did that. But then by you playing live, guess what happens when you go play for a big artist live? The producers show up. The producers that are on the album, they're going to show up. So you're going to meet Timbaland, you're going to meet Babyface. Yeah, big time.
Wow.
That's part of the network journey, is that, because the producers always gravitate to the band first.
Yeah.
They've been with the artist in the studio for hundreds of hours already. They're coming to hear what their records sound like live.
Right.
So when you got a funky bass player, guitar player, drummer, whatever, that's what they're coming to see. Keys, all that. So from that, I started meeting producers backstage and giving me mad props and loving my sound, etc., and then that led to them saying, "Hey man, you want to come do some drum samples for me?" And I'm like, "Drum samples? Okay, I know that's druming. I don't know what samples are, but that's drums. Yeah, I'll do it for you." Don't know what the heck I'm talking about. So,
but you learn along the way.
Exactly.
Because the thing is, Jovan, you have drummers or musicians or people who are out there that are going for their dreams, but they don't want to go through the process.
Right.
So you said something that was key. You knew there was a process.
Yeah.
You knew there were steps, and you had to go through it.
Exactly. Right.
Wow.
Now this part is very important for any musicians, writers, producers out there that are musicians first. Watch this journey. I teach this in my master classes all the time to encourage people, musicians. Now, I went from the stage to the studio playing drums. So I started doing drum samples for producers, and they were using them on hip hop records, and I mean all Busta Rhymes, you name it. It was on
Busta,
all kinds of stuff. All that.
Busta.
They was I was becoming at that time, and I didn't realize it. I was being, a very prominent drummer in the session community because producers was chopping up my loops. So I would go in the studio, play 16 bars, and do a couple different syncopations, and they would chop it up and put it in their records and sample it and and mix it with the electronic drums, and sometimes they'll put me on an electronic kit and I'll play triggers, and then they'll use their MIDI files, and it was all kinds of stuff that they were doing. So I would get paid my fee and leave. Now the key word is that at no point did I overstep my boundary and try to become the producer in that moment. That's the key, because most musicians mess that up. They come in to play guitar, they're invited to play bass, but you weren't invited to be a songwriter producer that day. But you try to overstep your boundary, and then you end up getting kicked out.
So wait, don't go into the room assuming you control the room.
Exactly.
Go into the room because you were assigned to the room.
Exactly. That's it.
Wow.
That's even a better way to put it right there. And so I played my role. And loved my role. I never tried to, even though I wanted to be a writer producer in me, this is what I was called to do. So now I built my name as a drummer in the session world, and got around like that, right? Then after that happened, then I eventually, when I got a close relationship with the producers, then I opened up to them and said, I'm also a writer and a producer as well, and I have some records. And if you could listen to them and critique me and tell me where I need to get better at, I would appreciate it. Every time I said that, man, Jovan, put it in right now. Listen, man, tell it. Because the respect, I put my time in.
Yeah, and the relationship.
And the relationship was there. And it was genuine. It wasn't fake.
Right.
It was none of that. I played my role. And even if they said no, I was cool.
Right.
I was going to, you know. So then that happened, and eventually that led into a songwriting production career. My production partners, shout out to the co-captains, that's my production team, Javon Hill and Stanley Green. We have a very similar story. We came up as church musicians, trying to make it as producers and writers in the business, but we were called to be musicians in the studio. So that's what happened.
So how was that? Tell me a little bit about, because I feel like we're entering a Ray Charles moment.
Okay.
Where he brought pretty much his style of music. He meshed the church with blues and jazz.
Yes.
So, how were you? How did the church look at you when they saw the route you were taking?
Yeah.
You know, what was that like? Did you deal with any adversities then? Did it cause you to go into a state of depression? Where did you feel like your success was worth nothing because maybe somebody said something or it bothered you? Because to me, you seem like you have a great heart.
Yeah.
You know, and you want great for everyone.
Right.
But oftentimes when we want great for everyone and things come back to us, we react differently.
Right.
What was that time period like when you dealt with that, where you felt like the church was against you, or your father was a bishop and all this stuff, but you weren't. You were in a whole different path. What was that like?
You know what? I never dealt with anybody at least coming to my face getting at me about it. As far as secular music, I knew. Being raised in Church of God in Christ, of course, you know.
Right.
But I was always careful, because even when I got my first beginning, and I want to say 2008 is where my career like legitimately started for real, maybe early 08, on the writer-producer side. And so when that happened, no one came to me directly and said anything. But I did go through a time where I was seeing the snaky side of the business early, and I didn't like it.
You were meeting a lot of Judas.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And I didn't like it. And actually, I was naive. I thought it was only in secular music. Boy, was I wrong. But at that time, hold
on, Javon, it's getting hot. It's getting hot in here. Because you're getting ready to step on another different level. So you only thought it was a secular.
At the time, I was what, 18, just fresh 18, just turned 18.
Wow.
And so but at that time, I was like, you know what, God, maybe I'm supposed to just do gospel music only. Maybe that's what it is. Because even the secular music I was doing at the time wasn't provocative. It didn't have any cuss words or any provocative lyrics. I held my standard very well. You know. So anyway, as I transitioned through there, I had said to God, if I'm only supposed to do gospel music, I will do it. But then,
hold on, take a deep breath, Javon, because we're going to a serious
moment.
This
is where the prophecy comes in.
This is a serious moment. Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
All right, let it lie.
They're gonna bully. So then what happened was I went to a church. I was visiting at the time. Pastors didn't know me at all. And you know, normally when you get prophesied to, it's during that hype moment or that worship moment. None of that was going on. This was doing announcements. Like an announcement. I was visiting a church that another musician had told me about. I just came to worship. I wasn't there to be the musician.
They didn't know who you were. Nothing.
And this in the early. I'm talking about
Benny Hinn.
Long time ago.
Billy Graham.
Right, all them. Swagger. All them guys. So anyway, the pastor had called me up to the altar. And so I went up to the altar, and he says, the reason why you're in the position you're in now, and the position that you're going to end up going, or the direction you're going to end up going to, is because you are called to minister to entertainers that were once with Christ, and you're going to help bring them back to Christ.
Wow.
Now, the key word in there is, or key words in there is, he said you're going to minister to people that were once with Christ. He didn't say ones that never knew him. So these are specifically entertainers that was in it
Yeah.
Yes, God, and said, all right.
But hold on. Now, you're right. We did turn it to a prophetic moment because I just caught a glimpse back at the beginning of the show where you talked about it was a hub of musicians, and pretty much everyone in the entertainment industry came from this one place.
Yeah, in the area,
And then all of a sudden, years later, you're prophesied to in the midst of an announcement about being the person who can intercede to grab those who are already building that relationship with Christ.
Exactly. And he says, that is your calling. And then I lifted my hands, and then he started saying, and then it got deeper. He started naming certain artists' names.
Wow.
Like he was throwing it.
He didn't know you, nothing.
He knew nothing.
He didn't throw no oil on you. He didn't.
None of that. None of that. Pastor Matt Wayfield, we're still very close to this day.
Yeah.
Actually, I do an entertainment Bible study once a month here.
Yeah.
Not in this building, but we do it at different bigger studios that have bigger live rooms.
Wow, yeah.
And we host a Bible study, and him and my senior pastor, Pastor Tracy Armstrong, they come out and we all teach.
Wow.
All entertainers. Like, when I tell you have to come out. When I tell you it's beautiful, just imagine our first one I ever did, 54 celebrities and just people in the business, behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, all in one room, no egos. Everybody left their celebrity at the door, praising God. It was beautiful.
And I think that's one of the things, Jovan, that we deal with today in society. Like for me, what I did was doing behind the movies and interviewing some celebrities. Like I realized behind the scenes when we have conversations, all you have to do is listen.
Yeah. Right.
Like they one person said, I never asked for the status. It just came with me because of my gift.
Yeah.
And it's the truth.
I can understand that. Yeah.
You know, all you did was your part.
Right.
You walked in purpose.
Yeah.
And you do your job, and you do your assignment.
Right.
And all of a sudden, people lift you up.
Yeah.
Because now, when they throw you down, if you don't hold to the core of who you are, you lose yourself.
Exactly.
That's what depression and suicide and all that stuff come about.
Big
So
time.
you've been prophesied to.
Yes.
Keep going through that next phase.
So after he did that, it shocked my world.
Wow.
I had just met my wife not too long prior to that.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so now that he said that, I said, oh, well, I guess I'm called to do some secular music and go ahead and do some of that.
Yeah.
So and
with that face.
Right. So when I say that it never failed, I'm telling you, the people that I have sat down with, I'll keep some of them nameless right now to keep their stuff confidential.
No, that's.
But there's been so many actors, A-list actors too, that y'all all know, artists that I'm very close friends with, that have sat down, and it never failed. They would always end up pouring out their story to me, and the session would change. So now, but here's the key part to the whole prophecy.
Yeah.
Now, I never would Bible thump anybody in sessions. So it didn't matter whether I'm in the studio writing for Faith Evans, whether I'm doing TLC. It don't matter who it is, Jamie Foxx. I'm not Bible thumping anybody. I'm not being churchy. I ain't doing none of that stuff. But what they would do is that they would always watch my lifestyle.
Come on, all right.
That was the key.
Hold on, now you might take my offering today.
They would watch my lifestyle. Not that I'm perfect, but the thing is, I've never smoked. I've never been drunk a day in my life. And they're used to that. This is Hollywood. It's raunchy. It is what it is. And so they would notice that I would never change. So they were watching it, like when we all go out to dinner in between breaks of the sessions, Jovan's not slushing up, he ain't cussing, you know, so when all that's and then when the women come in, when people like to bring they pretty friends in, I don't change. They're like, man, so Jovan's like this is the inside joke in Hollywood. So Jovan like married for real, man. Like, that ring really means something to him. Like he don't even budge.
But you know what? That's powerful.
It is.
I mean, it's when Jesus dealt with the Pharisees, he didn't throw the word at them.
Right.
All he did was speak his truth.
Exactly. Right.
And from that point, they had to figure out who he was.
Yes.
And that's through the lifestyle and the manifestation that he was doing throughout Scripture.
Exactly.
So that's powerful, man.
It's super powerful.
And thank you for holding it down.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Come on now.
That's my job. That's my job. I had to do it. So that always makes the artist or actor or whoever I'm dealing with say, Jovan, I noticed you don't do da 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 da. Why is that? So now they're asking. So I say, well, this is why. I'm this, I'm that, and this is what I believe in. And then next you know, they just start throwing up everything. And then next you know, we end up ending that session with prayer, and lives are being changed, and we end up having a spiritual relationship separately from what this is. And so that's when I really got to see my calling really get worked. I mean, I've said that I'm respected by high level gang members. I mean, it goes to a whole nother level where very known gang members have came to me before they felt like they were going to make a bad decision, and at all people they could have called. They could have called TD Jakes. They could have called any big minister that.
But they called you.
They called me because they're like, you know, they felt that connectivity, and so I've been on the phone with a member of a gang, and I end up praying with him and help talk him out of doing something wrong, and he gave his life to Christ that day.
I mean, 29 years old.
Yeah.
The wisdom you carry because of those that has poured into your life, and the value of your lifestyle that you take more than anything else that you love, and that's powerful.
Absolutely.
Guys, we got to take a short commercial break. We'll be right back here on the Reflection Show. This is Ramsey Rizard. Be right back. Thank you for tuning in, guys, to the Reflection Show. Man, it's just been an awesome interview with my brother Jovan Dawkins right here in his studio at HMG. For those of you that don't know, Heritage Music Group right here in Burbank, California. Man, Jovan, your story is immaculate.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I mean, most people today don't understand the value of what you're saying right now, because this is a life-changing experience that you have experienced. So let's go back to gospel and secular. And you're asking God, well, maybe I should do gospel. You get prophesied to, and all of a sudden you get back into the entertainment industry, doing what you were called to do, helping and assisting, interceding. Take us into a deeper life of Jovan.
So once I got that prophecy of I was called to minister to entertainers that were once with Christ and help bring them back. It was almost like within 3 months it started happening. Like immediately, like
the word came.
Absolutely. And so I built another level of respect with all these entertainers beyond my musical talents. You know, and so, you know, one thing I can say is that there's not many people I work with that were not great friends outside of music because of God, because of that being brought up in sessions and you know, and which led into the Bible study thing, and you know, and the transition from there. So but I always held a standard. I did an interview on TBN I think back in I was invited 2011 or 12, and I spoke about holding your standard and how by holding your standard, most people, I'll say 90% of Christians in the secular industry is scared to hold their standard because they're afraid that something is going to be taken from them.
And what could that thing be?
Money. Root of all evil. Because if you feel like that, oh, if I do this, this is going to offend so-and-so, And so you think that, okay, now you're going to get kicked off the record, or maybe you're not going to be so-and-so's manager anymore, or whatever it may be. They're scared because of the money, but I'm a living proof that if you hold your standard in the business, then it will work out for you, because it's God's plan. It's not theirs. They don't control your life. So I live by that to this day, you know, by holding that standard. And so but yeah, so I do, so even when I do you know, secular records, which is, I do more of those probably than gospel, I can be proud of the body of work, because it's like, you know what, I can control for the most part what's going on, you know, and that's, you know, and I hope that I can continue that way. I'm praying that God can keep that.
But Jovan, what issues were you having where you was like, oh, you know, going into the gospel, you know, it'll be different from the secular on the business end? What caused that terrain in that in that industry for you, or across, or that other line?
Talking about on the gospel side?
Yes.
Well, you mean me thinking that it was different over there?
Yes.
You know, well, seeing how you could, you know, you think everyone is all clean and all that stuff in the business, but then you realize, oh, y'all do the same stuff over here than you do over there. There's not much of a difference, you know, collectively, as far as how business is done, and, you know, maybe screwing somebody over on their credit. You know, there's all kinds of different, all the genres of music go through almost the same stuff. You know, collectively.
That's pretty cool, because we was talking about it behind the scenes earlier about how powerful music is. But thank God we have a Jovan Dawkins who holds his standard, carries a lifestyle that reflects the body of Christ, and also produces music that doesn't affect the world. It actually helps better.
Right, exactly, absolutely. And so once I really understood my calling in its entirety, I started to understand all of this is just a platform. The ministry is actually what it's really about. And so my wife challenged me. She says, you need to work more on praying more and fasting and doing that, because if that's weak, getting money and publishing and recognition or whatever, those are just the sprinkles that come with it.
Wow! Shout out to your wife.
Absolutely.
Shout out to wifey.
My wife is one of a bajillion.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I just operated differently, you know, when that happened. So, now also too, what helped me a lot is that I started studying the music business at 14 years old. People always ask me in interviews and just in passing, Jovan, how did you get here? And because for me it's a different journey, because I'm not just on the creative side. I've done well on the executive side, secretly to a degree. So because I don't talk a lot, I don't do all that stuff. So, but the difference is that when I said I wanted to do music, I really studied the music business. But most people want to keep the business part out and just say, and just music. Stay on that music side. So I was studying copyright law, sync licensing for television, film, publishing at 14, and really was gun-ho about it. So by the time I got in the industry, I had knew so much, and I had been mentored by some different people, and it helped me, you know, get to my journey, and so that actually gave me the advantages over some things, and eventually I started my publishing company, HMG, Heritage Music Group. I have a label division, a film division, a tech company, which is separate from this. I'm in tech by default. I'm from Tacoma, Seattle, so you know how that goes. But my focus is music publishing more than anything else. My goal that I had set a long time ago is, I said I wanted to win, I wanted to get a lot of number ones as a music publisher, and win a Grammy as a music publisher. I had already won Grammys as a drummer and a songwriter producer, but it was very important for me to win as a music publisher, and so that happened recently, and I won 5 in 1 year, which was amazing.
5 in 1 year.
I won 5. So all I wanted was 1. That's all I asked for.
But look, but you planted the seed. They gave you multiple.
So I mean, it was. I cried. And I'm not a crier at all. But when you win a Grammy as a music publisher, you win Billboard awards as a music publisher. That represents that you are great at the music business, when you're a writer producer, you did good at the creative. I was cool with not ever winning anything on this side anymore. I need to show that I'm the business. So I took home 5 Grammys with Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars, That's What I Like. 24 Karat album of the year, pop album of the year, and R&B album of the year. Finesse featuring Cardi B. I mean, so I was one of the publishers on 7 of those records, and so that was a big moment in my career. And so things have just been going, really great in that, on both sides, right? That side.
So with you holding this household name, and with the success that you have underneath your belt, how would Jovan Dawkins define success?
You know what? It changed last year or this year.
I figured because the weight is different.
It's different. I have different type of people around me. I had to clean house, and see, that hurts for me because my issue is that I put too much passion into the business versus separating it a little bit, and that was my issue.
Wait, break that down.
Okay.
Separation.
Yeah. So for me, I'm a relationship person. Okay. I was always a giver, always been a nice person. None of those things that I was as a child, none of that changed today. But when you get messed over time, and you have the wrong people around you, their motives are different, then and you have to, God has a way of removing some things out the way that can mess you up. Because one thing that comes, and this is a message for everyone, what comes with success is that anytime that you're doing something that is public, even because I always loved the fact of being behind the scenes. That was my goal. That's why I love production, because I can do this, do that, and I can still walk in the grocery store and you don't know who the heck I am. You might be playing my song in the car, but you don't know who I am by face, at least. Wow. People don't read credits, but I love that part. But still, anything you do that's out front, that's in the public, even ministries, preaching, you are a target.
Yeah.
And the quicker you understand that what you do publicly, that you're a target, then you won't go through this depression. Because see, a lot of people are committing suicide. Artists are committing suicide left and right, and some of them are contemplating them. I've had friends come to me, celebrities came to me about to do it. And we had to, God came in and we fixed those things. But artists are not always committing suicide because they're on drugs, because they're on meth, because, it's not that. There's actually great artists that have really good hearts in this business on both sides, gospel, secular, whatever, pop, country. But they've been heartbroken because maybe their best friend slept with their wife or vice versa.
Wow.
See, these are things that don't get out in the public all the time. Right. Or maybe their best friend of 30 years or 40 years had been stealing money from them for 10 of those years.
Like, how do you hold that? Like,
you have to pray. You're going to have to pray the whole way, because you can't do it on your own. Trust me, I tried. It don't work.
Wow.
You have to. So with success, it comes with all of these responsibilities. I told someone on the phone the other day, I said, I know for a fact that when people view me in this business, I'm known as the Christian guy in the secular industry. I'm not even talking about the church community right now. I'm talking about Hollywood.
Right.
Executives love me. White, black, Jewish, Asian. I have no enemies in this circle of the business. And the thing is, my life looks too clean. If that makes sense.
I listen. I get
It
that.
looks too, because I know that I just feel it in my heart that there are people looking back. There's a lot of people. Jovan, man, that boy, woo, he helped everybody. He bought this car for so and so. He did this for so. Man, he's a giver. He does for his community. But then there's also the people that don't like what God's doing, and they'll sit back and be like, it looks too good.
It looks way too
good. They're waiting
for
the scandal.
Yeah.
That's what I said to someone on the phone, and it shocked them that I said that. I said, no, I know there's people waiting for the scandal. Yeah. Just like any preacher, they're waiting for it. So what you have to do is that you have to really hone into God and spend that time with Him, and really just understand who needs to be around you, what season you're in. And when you start to understand that, wait a minute, this journey is not going to be everyone's not going to love you. That's not how it works. But see, that was my problem. I was so used to everyone loves me.
Right.
And if someone doesn't love me,
someone's wrong. That's how you probably felt.
Exactly.
So how did you decipher Judas from Peter?
You know what? Living it. Because I've had people, friends of mine, tell me that God told them this, but then God told them don't tell me. I had to actually go through it. Because if someone would have told me, I probably wouldn't have really got it in that moment. I had a prophet tell me a while back that God doesn't tell you everything because you'll go mess it up. Now, when she said it, I knew she knew.
You your own snitch.
Exactly. I said, and from that day on, I said, maybe I should shut up. Huh? Maybe I need to get a lot quieter.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, that's what you have to do, man. And so,
wow.
But anyway, but so now jumping into my film division, we have a lot of cool things going on right now. Some people don't know that side of me. I'm not just a film composer as far as orchestra and all that stuff. I also executive produce films and projects right now. I'm producing the commissioned biopic film right now with Fred Hammond, Marvin Sapp, Carl Mitch, Keith Stanton, Michael Brooks, the whole crew. We've been working on it for a little while now. We're getting ready to put the script together. It's going to be an amazing film.
Now, Jovan, you know, you just said a lot of names that I'm like, okay, because you see, I grew up in a Haitian church.
Got you. Okay.
So we were forced to go to church, and all we knew was Haitian music.
Oh,
that's all. I mean, that's all we knew.
Yeah.
You know, it's now as I'm more in the Americanized church. I'm hearing these names.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, okay, who are you talking about? Right. But I guess I'm gonna go do my research.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
but I mean, that's powerful. You're entering another realm that people don't think that you're doing, but you are doing. So you're using all of your gifts for your company, and helping other people, you know, get into places that they never had access to.
Exactly. Right. Absolutely. You know, I you know, and I even own a lot of things that people don't know I own. I put my hands in a few other.
I mean, you got the cool bikes.
Yes. I do have a scooter line with my partners Emotive. So it comes in black on black and black and chrome. It's all electric, goes 35 miles per hour. It has LED lights on the bottom,
of course.
Would love
that. My brother Wiz would love that.
Oh, really?
The one behind the camera.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Man, I'll send you the website link. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's cool.
But things are going well in that arena, and so we're working on the DeBarge situation too. I work with El DeBarge very closely. We're working on some content film stuff. I'm also working with Darius McQuarrie. He's also signed to HMG as well, and he also played Eddie Winslow in Family Matters.
Cool.
So Darius is we're working on some stuff there. Fred Hammond is also in Face to Face assigned to HMG as well. So we have a lot of great projects coming out that and you know, I'm excited about it.
So with all of this, what is next for JD himself, Jovan Dawkins? When you take your vacation, when all this goes down, as far as, you know, when you're away from this, what is next for you? What is something that you want for your company that will complete what you first saw when you were young?
I think the next move would be to start a music production school, privately though.
Wow.
Private curriculum, and have a music business course in it. I've been teaching master classes since 2012.
Wow.
I've traveled and taught this class. I've even done about 4 free ones too. Because I'm so diehard about people knowing the business in and out, because a lot of people have lack of understanding. And so actually I want to start a series called Details. And so I preach to if my crew was here, they would tell you, from my production team, the co-captains, to other writers and producers I work with, they'll tell you Jovan preaches details, because in details, even if I have a conversation with you, if I use the word or versus and, it changes the whole conversation, right? So when someone doesn't have the proper details in music business or whatever, you could feel like someone's screwing you over. Not that, and at that point they're probably not screwing you over. Right. You just have lack of understanding, or you didn't get all the details.
That's huge.
So I want a school, a music school. Yeah. I'll start it in my hometown in Tacoma, Washington. I want to branch it out into Portland, get here. I mean, I wanted to get everywhere and become a curriculum, almost like a Berkeley-ish thing, but just more private, but more honed in on the music business. We got enough creative stuff, folks. Yeah. Y'all got YouTube now. We didn't have YouTube like that.
We had dial-up.
Right. Dial-up, internet. You had to wait for it and all.
Right.
Yeah. So
wow.
Because that's why I taught those free master classes, because I want people to know the business, so that way someone can't get you, and you don't think someone's always trying to get you. So it works both ways. So that's my ultimate goal. At least in this field, that's my next goal.
Man, we thank you so much, Jovan.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have a life that carries a heavy story.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure that your daughter and your son and your wife are very proud of you.
Yes.
This is my first time meeting you, because I always see you on Facebook, but it's my first time meeting you.
Yeah.
And I know that, definitely what lives in you is authentic and true.
Yes.
And from the Reflection Show and the In the Mirror family, we just want to tell you thank you for allowing your story to be told here on our show.
Absolutely.
Because, man, there's greatness inside of you that still has a lot of work to do.
Yes.
And, for me, it is an honor to pick this story and to ask the questions that were leading into the right places for you and for those that are watching.
Yes.
There's one more person on the other side of that mirror that is looking right now saying, Jovan, if it does not work out, I've been cut, I've been bruised, I've been beaten in this industry. I'm in the industry. I don't know how to be a husband. I don't know how to be a father. I'm in this industry. I don't know how to build my own studio. I don't know how to form a company. What is one inspiring, impacting, influencing word that you can share with them right now as you look at the other side of that mirror?
Two things. So, for one, whatever dream you have, and God gave it to you, you spend time with it, you know that's what your goal is here, or what your calling is, for better words. You have to not get discouraged by anybody that's trying to hold you down, because, not to get too spiritual, but I'm going to go ahead and go there for a second.
Do your thing. This is unscripted.
Oh, good. Great.
Whatever's on your
Great.
heart, be transparent.
Absolutely.
So people can honor you
Absolutely.
in your transparency.
Right. The devil does not want you to follow anything that God has for you. So he's going to throw every distraction he can to ruin you from each angle, whether it's your name, whether it's to get you caught up in some mess that look like whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You have to stay focused and so you can accomplish that goal. The other thing that I will say too is that while you're working hard and putting in those crazy hours that you're going to have to do as an entrepreneur, you can't go into it in a 9-to-5 mindset.
Yeah.
Just delete all that. You have to also remember that, if you have a family, do not create a balance to where you put you're all into your career, but you don't waste that time that you're going to regret later when your kids get older, or whatnot, or your marriage.
Yeah.
So that's very important. I'm continuously learning that right now. I've been married 10 years.
Wow.
I got married at 19 years old. And so I'm continuously learning how to create that balance, so that way I can create this empire for my wife and my children, but they can still say Daddy was there at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
Guys, here in LA, Burbank, California, at Heritage Music Group Studio with the one and only, the producer, Jovan Dawkins! That's right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I know it was a lot that he was dropping, but remember, this show is unscripted. With an unscripted story, there is no time.
Yeah.
But there is time for someone to hear this. And I believe, because of what he just spoke during this interview, it's a life-changing moment for you. It impacted you. It inspired you. It influenced you. This is Ramsey Rizard on The Reflection Show. And remember, your experience matters. Thank you for watching. I know y'all thought we were done. But come on. It's Ramsey, right? The Reflection Show. Man, we just had an awesome conversation behind the scenes that my brother Wiz brought to my attention. And of course, I felt as though with what he was saying, we needed to connect with this because it's a very detailed situation that we did not talk about during the interview because the interview was that powerful. There is so much in Jovan! I mean, there's so much gold in the trenches that just picking it up one at a time is just a lot.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But this is the bonus segment. My brother brought this to our attention just behind the scenes about your logo, your name.
Yeah.
Tell us the details and the reason behind it, the connection you have with it.
Yeah, so, you know, the name Heritage came to me because, you know, actually the original name of my publishing company was Impact Music Group, originally. Did some great things. I decided to change it.
Right.
I want to say 2015-ish. I started, it just hit me to call it Heritage because I was all about legacy. Every move I made, I said, the moves I'm going to make now, it has to build a future. It has to build, this name came from, like, this is how weird I was as a kid.
Yeah.
I used to admire family-owned businesses at a young age.
At a young age?
Young. I mean, I'm talking about, like, 11, 12, 13. I'm looking at stuff that folks ain't even looking at.
Yeah.
But obviously it was for a reason.
Yeah.
But like, I had a friend of mine named Justin. His parents owned a painting company. And what was dope about their situation is that they lived well. Justin had all the fly shoes, all the cool clothes, and all that stuff all the time, laced up. And we used to go to his house. He lived down the street from my grandmother's house, Jean Davis, the room we're in right now.
Yeah. And
they had a house that, now this, we're gonna get a little deep now. There was their old house.
Take it there, yes sir.
So their house, so that's the old house, literally right there. Like, it ain't that much apart from the.
Yeah.
It's one of them cul-de-sacs.
It's like you can see it over the fence.
Literally. That's the house that they were in. It was cool. It wasn't really up to date.
Yeah.
And the father and mother grinded and built this painting company. And it wasn't doing well at first, but they built it up. And then as things started to progress and get better and better and better, they end up building, either they or bought, I think they built it, but or they either built or bought the house across the street that was 10 million times better. So they moved literally across the street to this new, beautiful, luxurious house.
Yeah.
And I got to see that as a kid, watch that process.
Wow.
So to be able to live in this wonderful house, and they still own that house, to look over through your living room and say, that's where we came from. Every night when you go to bed, that was amazing to me. That was amazing that Justin has parents that left a legacy, a heritage for him. So I admired families that had that dynamic.
Yeah.
I wanted the same thing. I wanted to be able to have something that I can pass down to my children's children.
Right.
And I meant it. And so I was like, you know what? I want to change the culture of this. So the name Heritage just came to me.
Yeah.
And it just stuck. And so and even with the crowns, you know, to me, these crowns just represents the heritage. So this is so you would think this is me. It's actually not me. This is me.
Wow.
Then this is my kids, and this is their kids. So.
Wow. Did you just drop the mic?
Pretty much. Broke it. Ruined the sound system.
Feedback and all. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's where everything came from.
Yeah, absolutely.
That vision.
Yeah. Young.
What is the mission statement behind your company?
The mission statement behind it is, I'm paraphrasing right now, but the mission statement is to change everything that was standard in the music industry over time. So even all the way down to certain record deals that we've done I've had attorneys call my office, call my people at Universal, my administrators. They've called my business affairs department and says, I read this contract that you sent over to so-and-so. We noticed that you gave them an artist royalty of 20%. But, and see, this is my first time saying this publicly ever. I never said this on the radio or anything.
Well, the Reflection Show always get the best.
Here it is. So we had gave an artist a 20% artist royalty, which, just so you know, in standard business, that is not normal because an artist royalty normally starts at like 9, 10 maybe. Yeah. And if you're established and you did something, maybe 11 or 12. Yeah. Maybe. No, but if you sold some crazy records, you could be pushing a strong 14, 15-ish somewhere in there, right? And we offer this artist that actually is not even quote unquote on that. They're there, but they're not an A-lister. Right. And we offer them a 20. This is a legend though. A 20% artist royalty, plus we call it profit participation. So what we did is instead of them recouping at that artist royalty, which means you're gonna be in your record deal forever, pretty much, we made it to where we actually make money at the same time.
So it's like shared revenues.
You can call it that, right? So but you're not recouping at your 20%. So it's already crazy that you got 20% to begin with.
Yeah, that's double the portion.
Yeah, I mean you getting a higher royalty rate than Drake. But then on top of that, we're recouping at the same time. So attorneys have called us. Many big attorneys have called us and said, "Why are you doing this?" Yes. They want, and they're calling us off the record. Like after the deal's done, they're like, "Why did you do this?" Because attorneys can't do it in the moment, right? Because they've never. So once again, we are the first to ever do any deal structure like that in the history of the music business.
Well, just thinking about that, I mean, my entertainment lawyer said the same thing to me. Well, for the thing I said. Yeah, to you. And I told him, I said, well, you got to look at it like this. Even though I was blessed to have what I have, in reality, I believe no one should go broke. Yeah. Because, like you said, profit participation. Right, right. We've worked together. We were blessed enough to meet each other. We're blessed enough to work together. And we're going to be blessed enough to live and leave a legacy for each generation. Right, absolutely. And that's powerful. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. That's powerful. Absolutely. Big time. Jovan, where can people find your company? I know this right here is a public studio. It's open to everyone. Yes, yes. Give us the information that everyone can go and book studio time because y'all need to bless this studio. That's right, y'all need to bless this studio, and y'all heard it first from Ramsey Rizard, the Reflection Show. Bless the studio. How can they bless the studio? All right, so you can go on hmugr.com, click on the studio tab, and it will show you all the different studios that are available, the rates, everything, numbers to call to book time and whatnot. For your projects. You can also follow me on Instagram at Jovan_drum_producer. Also follow my production team, _co-captains. And also you guys go ahead and check out that new Fred Hammond single called Tell Me Where It Hurts, produced by myself and Fred and the crew. And let's see, what else am I missing? Shanice Wilson is also now Washington, but is also signed to HMG as well. Okay. Her hit record was I Love Your Smile, so we got a new record coming out for her. So yeah. And how about we can't forget the motorcycle. I mean, oh my goodness. Come on, bro. The most swagged out. Scooter. The most swagged out scooter. So you can go to www.emotivecycles.com and click, and you can click on my line is the J Motive line. Yeah. Everyone's gonna ask before they even do that, why did you pick Emotive? So Emotive, actually that was established by my partner Chris. He created that particular name. I didn't come up with that part. Good job, Chris. So, Good job, man. Chris is a very smart man. He's done some great things. Yeah. And so my version of this particular line was just more sleeker, and it just had more style. I have a car ministry. I didn't tell you that. Oh, you got it. You like exotic cars? Yeah, man. Like I used to be in a car club. I've calmed down a lot because at one point I had 13 cars. What? But I've calmed down a lot lately. I've liquidated. I've given cars away too. See, I've been blessing. See. Oh my goodness. But actually, me and Fred Hammond, we got a car relationship because he collects cars. I collect cars. So we be going through that together or whatnot. So, but I added some spice to the scooter. Yeah, some swag based off of some custom stuff I did to some of my vehicles. Okay. So that's how that came. Man, that's dope, man. Y'all, we kicking it, the bonus segment on the Reflection Show. I've never done a bonus segment with anyone, but man, Wiz brought this to my attention. My brother, who's behind the scenes, who's the camera production manager right now, assistant director, he brought it to our attention, and we're showing some love with his idea and his questions. And look, because of his questions, look what came to light. Yeah. the meaning to Heritage Music Group. So make sure y'all follow Jovan Dawkins. Make sure y'all buy a scooter. Okay?
Yeah.
And make sure also y'all support and bless the studio, man. Every room has a different atmosphere just for you.
Yeah.
So definitely come on, be a part of the family. Heritage Music Group is waiting for you. This is Ramsey Rizard on The Reflection Show, your bonus segment. That's right. And as I always say, subscribe to my YouTube channel, InTheMirrorTv. Follow me on Instagram, In The Mirror, and Facebook, In The Mirror. And remember, your experience matters. Thank you for watching. Love you guys.